Hey guys, welcome to Massive University. In this video, I'm going to go over rest pause training. We're going to talk about methods, and I'm going to provide you with a complete overview. Before I get into this topic, if you guys have any questions or comments, drop them down below. The best topic ideas, I'll turn into videos just like this. And if you need coaching, I'd love to work with you. Check out the link below. All right, let's talk about rest pause training. This is something that's been a staple of my Massive Iron universe for quite a long time. To backtrack, I first started playing with rest pause training about 2007. I was introduced to something called DC training or dog crap training back at that time. And even though I found it interesting, I didn't really particularly like the setup. So I adjusted or altered rest pause training to fit how I like to train. And basically at that time, I created a system called the Bulldozer system, which was a rest pause training protocol. I ran that for a complete year. I absolutely loved this style of training. I saw really good muscle building results. The soreness from rest pause training was always much better than the soreness just from average training. Not that that necessarily means it's more effective for everybody, but there was a noticeably higher degree of muscle soreness. And my progression, my strength moved along quite nicely. I noticed after about 2 to 3 weeks, once you acclimated to the rest pause style, then my strength really started to shine. So I ran Bulldozer training rest pause for about a year. And here we are 17 years later. It's a staple of my teaching. I don't force it on my clients. I give it to them as an option. And we're going to get into things. All right, here's an introduction to rest pause training. What is rest for normal training? One thing I teach is that after a set, when you feel physically and mentally ready to go again, then you go back and attack the next set. I don't like to set, personally, I don't like to set specific rest periods in between sets. You can do that if you want. There's no harm or downside in doing that. I don't like to particularly do so. I like to wait until I just feel physically and mentally ready to go again. Always remember that the point here, however you train, is to service hard training. Whatever you do should lead you to the point where you're able to absolutely crush the next set. And rest pause training, we're going to compress things a little bit so that one whole set becomes a series of 5 to 7 mini sets. And the whole point of that block is to crush you. Where in straight sets, we're going to rest between sets until we feel physically and ready to go to crush that next set, if that makes sense. So rest pause, all the mini sets are basically one set, and the goal is to crush you in that period of time. Whereas straight sets, you are better off resting in between sets so you feel physically and mentally ready to attack the next set with full capacity. Now in rest pause, we cut down the rest periods so you attack the lift and muscle groups before you are fully recovered. So with rest pause, we're going to beat a muscle or a lift or a group of muscles down. And before it gets a chance to fully recover, we're just going to give it a small window to recover just slightly. And then we're going to continue to hammer it while it's down. So we're going to go through this period where we train hard, recover just for a brief moment, train hard again, recover for just a brief moment. And we continue this until our block or our mini sets have been completed. Now, how short you restrict rest in between these mini sets of rest pause, that will vary depending on preferences and depending on the exercise. There's no one size fits all when it comes to rest in between rest pause sets. For some exercises, like cable tricep extensions, you can rest 15 to 20 seconds. For some things like squats, it might be upwards of 90 seconds. Now, before we dive into some of the specifics, we have to answer the question, is rest pause mandatory? Those of you guys watching this video are probably going to be pretty excited about trying some of these principles, but we don't want to turn a tool like this into something that is mandatory. You do not need to use rest pause training to make amazing muscle growth. Rest pause is a training tool. No training tool is mandatory. Only the massive iron pillars of success are mandatory. And those pillars I get into in my book, massive iron, but they're basically be consistent, use progressive overload, use a reasonable exercise selection, nail your nutrition, be patient, and those sorts of things. Rest pause training is 100% optional. You do not have to use it. But if you decide to use it, rest pause training can be adjusted and adapted as needed for any given exercise to suit your needs and preferences. What I am presenting in this video is how I teach rest pause, but you can modify it and adjust it in any way that suits your needs and preferences. All right, so rest pause basic framework. Now, rest pause, we're not going to use different weight. We're going to use the same weight for each set of an exercise. So whatever you're doing, bench press or cable tricep extensions, you're going to use one weight. There's going to be no changing weight. No need to change weight between sets. We're going to focus on intensity. So you're going to use that weight, you're going to attack, you're going to rest briefly, and attack with that same weight. Now, in regular training, standard training, we have sets. You might have 3 sets or 4 sets for an exercise. In rest pause training, we have what's called mini sets. Everything is one big set, so to speak. So you could do 4 mini sets, you could do 5 mini sets, you could do 7 mini sets. These are the number of sets or efforts that are included in a rest pause protocol before you take a complete and normal rest period. So if you perform 5 rest pause sets of bench press, where you're doing bench and then rest briefly and bench and rest briefly, and you do 5 total rest pause sets on bench, these are called 5 mini sets. Now let's look at an example, and we'll use bench press here. Our lifter is going to use about 150 pounds and prefers 4 mini sets. So this is going to be considered one rest pause set, but we're going to include 4 mini sets in this protocol. Rest periods can vary depending on preference. The only goal here is to not fully recover in between sets. So our lifter does 4 mini sets on bench press. The first one, he hits 11 reps with 150, and then he decides to rest 30 seconds. Second set, he hits 6 reps. And then he rests 30 seconds, and then 4 reps and 3 reps. You're going to see the reps decrease, and that's okay. A lot of people panic when they do rest pause because the reps are dropping. That's the point. That's what we want to see. If your reps are not dropping on rest pause training, you're probably not pushing the sets hard enough. Now, people also panic that they're not getting in enough reps because we're only doing one block like this, and people are accustomed to doing 3 or 4 sets. They think they're not getting in as many reps. But if you look at the total reps in this example, we have 11 plus 6 plus 4 plus 3. That's 24 total reps. If you did 3 sets of 8 on bench, it would be the same thing. The beautiful thing about rest pause training is you're getting in about the same number of reps as conventional training, but these reps are much more intense, much more challenging. The average rep intensity of a rep and rest pause training is greater than with straight sets. Now, rest pause fatigue, I just touched on this. Decreasing reps after each set is normal. That's what you want. As you pick up fatigue, you want subsequent sets to feel more challenging. This is a sign that rest pause training is working as intended. If somebody did 12, 12, 12, 12, and 12, they're not being challenged enough with weight, and they need to keep increasing the weight over time each week until those reps start to dip. Now, how do we progress on rest pause training? There are 2 primary progression methods that I teach when it comes to the massive iron rest pause training world. The first one is top set or first set. I often refer to a top set. This is your first set, the lead-off set. So this is your top or first set progression. Set a progression target for the first set. So for example, depending on the exercise, this can vary. It could be anywhere from 12 to 14. I think 13 to 14 is a sweet spot. 12 gets a little bit low because when you add weight, the reps can drop down to about 10. So set a rep target, maybe around 13, 14 for that top set or first set. And when you hit that, the next time you would add a minimal amount of weight to this exercise. So that's how we're going to focus on progression. Only that first set, whatever happens after that is like icing on the cake. But we're only going to focus on the first set here. And when we hit our rep target, then we move up in weight. Now, the second progression method is the rep goal, or total reps for all of our mini sets. So let's say you're doing 4 or 5 or 7 mini rest pause sets. You would add up the total reps in this mini set block. And then you would also set a rep goal total. You'd want to set a total, like say I want to hit 30 to 35 reps total. When you hit that total or more, then you would move up in weight the next time you perform this exercise. Now, here's a simple method to find a reasonable rep goal total for an exercise. You can take your total number of mini sets. You could do 4, you could do 5, you could do 7, and multiply it by 6. So if you're doing, say, bench press, and you want to use the rep goal total method of progression, and you're using 4 mini sets, you can multiply that by 4, and that would be a total of 24. So when you hit 24 for all of these total mini sets, then you can move up in weight. You could adjust it slightly. Maybe you want to move it up to 25 or 26. Let's say you're doing cable tricep extensions and you're doing 7 total mini sets and resting about 20 seconds between sets. You could take 7 times 6, and that would be 42. And you could adjust this. You can adjust this on the fly based on how things are taking place in the gym. But that is a good starting point. This is not a rule, but this is a really good starting point. Now I'm going to show you 2 of the ways I attack rest pause training in the massive iron world. Number 1 is the bulldozer rest pause. And number 2 will be the escalating rest pause. So this is a bulldozer rest pause. You can perform 4 to 5 mini sets per exercise, and you rest about 20 to 30 seconds. On a super taxing exercise, you can obviously increase the rest in between sets. Let's say you're doing pendlay rows and 40 or 45 seconds feels a little bit better. Give your lower back a little bit of a break. You can do that. There are no rules. These rules are meant to be broken. And again, always focus on servicing hard training. The goal is to train hard, so you can modify or tweak these things under the hood as needed. So with your 4 to 5 mini sets, basically each set is performed for maximum safe quality reps. And this is a staple principle in the massive iron world. We push sets for as many quality reps as possible. We stop the set when we feel like we're going to fail on the next rep or when form starts to break down. So we're only after safe quality reps. And there's no real benefit in training to failure. Sometimes during rest pause training, you will accidentally train to failure, and that's okay. But focus on pushing sets to the limit as safely as possible. Then you're going to rest 20, 30, whatever seconds and continue with your mini sets until you're done. Now, escalating bulldozer, basically we have escalating rest periods. This is a really intense and fun protocol that's best used on things like your presses, your big bench press, on pendlay rows, on seated overhead press or military press. And you can even use it on other variations you prefer, like lat pull downs, like seated cable rows. I wouldn't use this on squats or deadlifts. There's better ways to train squats and deadlifts. One of the issues with doing rest pause on squats is that it almost takes more time to rack the bar and catch your breath and then get under the bar again. So that can take a lot of time. So if you're going to do rest pause for squats, you probably want to have at least 60 seconds of rest in between sets. And with deadlifts, I recommend a protocol that is a 5, 8, or 10-minute block, but that's a topic for another video. So with escalating rest periods, we're going to basically do the same thing. Basically, with escalating rest periods, you typically perform 7 mini sets, and escalating, the rest in between sets continues to escalate. So the deeper in you get to have a little bit more rest. This will push the back end reps up a little bit while still adhering to rest pause training. And it's brutal and it's fun and it's engaging. And the deeper in you get a little bit more rest. So you get that mental break, and you still can, feel like you're just crushing this whole protocol. Again, we're pushing for max safe quality reps on each set. The rest periods are basically 30, 30, 45, 60, 90, and 120 seconds in between sets. And you can modify this as needed. But set number 1, max quality reps, rest 30 seconds. Set 2, attack, rest 30 seconds. Set 3, attack, rest 45 seconds. Then we're going to continue to escalate the rest periods 60, 90, and 120. And again, when it comes to progression, you can use either of the tools. You could set the goal on set number 1 when you hit 13 or 14 reps, and you would add weight the next time you perform this exercise. Or you could add up the total reps from set number 1 through set number 7 and set a rep goal total. And when you hit that, you could move up in weight. So there you have it, guys. A quick and easy, quick and brief guide to rest pause training. Try this in your workout. You don't have to use it on all exercises by any means. You could do something like concurrent periodization, where you do like regular bench 1 week and then esc bowl the next. Or you could try it on some of your assistance work, some of your like cable tricep extensions or JM presses. Don't feel like you need to use this on every exercise. It's brutal. It's going to leave you more sore. And you can work it in as needed. You can work it in every other week. You can have 2 to 3 rest pause exercises per training session. However you like it, just enjoy, train hard, and focus on progression. So guys, thanks for watching Massive University. Have a great day.